know Timmy had different heads.
Just another day or two.
You play enough kids games, especially kids games based on kids shows, it gets to the point where you don't even need to play them to know what they are. It's either an oversimplified beat 'em up, right, or some kind of paint-by-numbers platformer with as little actual platforming as possible. But that's not cynicism, that's reality. Most of these games suck. This one doesn't.
Ooh, goody, a prize!
Now look, I'm not gonna tell you this is some must-have Xbox game. I mean, it's still a game based on a kid's show, so its quality is relative. Point is, it's not as bad as it could be. The Fairly OddParents Breakin Da Rules has one of the most awful subtitles in the history of video games, but the game itself is decidedly less awful. And that's an achievement. So obviously the game is based on the animated series, which ran from 2001 to, holy crap, how is this show still running? It's not some terrible preteen sitcom, so I would have thought Nickelodeon would have Yankee Doodle pulled the plug. Nonetheless, he plays Timmy Turner, who's a kid with fairies or something, and they grant his wishes. You know, it's kind of like I Dream of Jeannie, but with less midriff. I'm a big fan of midriff. Anyway, something happens, they lose their magic. Timmy has to get it back from his evil babysitter, of course. That sets up Breakin Da Rules. There are a bunch of various levels and missions to play through, each with different objectives. So it's kind of like Mario 64 in structure, only it's obviously much, much simpler.
How? Why? Crime never pays. In the kitchen or anywhere else.
So each mission is set up like its own cartoon, which is actually a nice little touch. It lets the game really branch out and kind of get wacky, which a game like this should do. So you're going from standard item collecting and basic platforming to driving a hovercraft on a sea of computer data, or battling the ultra-villainous Spatula Woman. There's a nice variety to this game that makes it a lot less boring than it would be. Of course, that's not to say it's some enthralling 3D platformer, and it's still very much a game for little kids in terms of its gameplay. But it is nice to see a kid's game with this kind of effort, where the characters look good, the controls are decent enough. It's like the best game a game like this could be, and I mean that in a good way. Now, if only the subtitle were different. It's the Fairly OddParents Breakin Da Rules of grammar.
We won.
Well done, Timmy! You did great! Yeah, and we found more pages of the rules. I feel more magical already.